There was a time when alchemy was the highest science, a fusion of matter, energy, and spirit. It was never about lead into gold. That was the outer mystery, a cipher for the deeper work. The true goal was transformation of self, of substance, of society. It was about turning vibration into form, energy into mass, intent into reality. And gold was the end and the beginning, not because it was rare, but because it was pure. It conducted not just electricity, but consciousness. It was incorruptible, reflective, alive. The philosopher's stone wasn't a rock. It was a state, a tuning of the body, the temple, and the field into perfect resonance. The ancient temples practiced this. Rituals were not superstition. They were scalar modulation events. The voice, the incense, the gold, all acted together to shape field dynamics, to open portals of transformation within and without. This was the economy of the sacred. But then came the fracture. Rome burned the temples, and in their place, they built vaults. Alchemy was torn in two. On one side, spirit, sealed off in religion. On the other, matter, stripped into commerce. The mystery schools were buried. The field equation, forgotten. But the formula didn't die. It was inverted. Where once energy created value, now debt created illusion. Where once gold amplified the will, now it was hoarded, hidden, held in vaults under lock and spell. Banking became the new priesthood, the ledger, the new altar, the compound interest rate, the new god. But the sorcery remained. You see, modern money is not minted, it's manifested. A banker types numbers into a screen, and from nothing, debt is born. Just like the alchemist once whispered a word into gold, and from it, the field responded. This is financial alchemy, but it is a dark mirror of the original science. Because when private banks create money, they create only the principal, not the interest, which means there is always more owed than exists. This is not an accident. It is a mechanism of eternal scarcity. It forces nations, families, entire civilizations to remain in vibration with lack, with panic, with fear. It is a scalar weapon, but made of numbers. Where the temple once harmonized human consciousness with cosmic order, the bank now injects disorder by design. Money became not a mirror of energy, but a tool to suppress it. And yet, the symbols remained. The central bank still uses the eye in the triangle. The obelisk still rises before the dome. The architecture of power still mimics the old temples, but without the tuning, without the resonance. They have the shell, but not the song. And the people? We forgot that money was never meant to enslave. It was meant to flow, like energy, like current, like the breath of life. This was the original current side. The temple system of old was based on flow, measured offerings, returned blessings, a balance of field. Today's system is based on hoarding and interest. Interest, a word that once meant attention. Now it means the price you pay to exist. But there are echoes still. Gold retains its charge. Some structures still vibrate. Some rituals still work. Because the old system was not destroyed. It was buried, encoded in glyph and myth, in stone and symbol, waiting. And deep within the alchemical code lies this truth, that all value is rooted in energy, and all energy responds to will. The banksters inverted the ritual, but they did not create it. They only twisted it, from alignment into control. They turned the philosopher's stone into fiat, the sacred measure into market metrics, the resonance of soul into the frequency of debt. And yet, even now, we remember, in every exchange that honors life, in every act of generosity, in every heartbeat that says enough, there is an echo of the old song, the song of the temple, the real economy, the sacred flow. War is not only fought with guns, it is fought with ideas, and sometimes with forbidden science. When the Third Reich rose, it was not merely a political movement, it was an occult order with an appetite for the deepest secrets of the ancient world. In the hidden halls of the Ananarba, their research arm for ancestral heritage, men in black uniforms pored over Sanskrit texts, Egyptian glyphs, and Sumerian tablets. They were looking for the keys to the old grid. They studied the pyramids of Giza. They traced ley lines across continents. They measured stone circles in Britain, and they asked the same question the ancients once did. How do you control the field itself? Because by the 1930s, Germany was already a center for advanced physics. Einstein had rewritten the map of space-time. But there were others, scientists working in the shadows, who rejected the official story. They spoke of the ether, a medium of subtle substance, the ocean in which light swims, denied by the textbooks, but whispered about in the laboratories. And the Reich listened. They believed the ether could be shaped, that torsion fields, twisting, spiraling waves in this medium, could alter gravity, bend time, and unlock power sources not found in coal or oil. They found echoes of this in the temples, the octagonal floors, the harmonic ratios, the magnetron-like patterns carved in stone. It was as if the ancients had already built what modern engineers were only beginning to imagine. Then came Die Glock, the bell. It was no ordinary machine. 2 counter-rotating drums, mercury-like plasma inside, run at terrifying speeds. Witnesses spoke of a violet glow, of a humming that sank into the bones, of plants withering nearby, and men aging decades and days. It was a scalar experiment, a torsion field generator, a temple made of steel. Some say it was an anti-gravity engine, others a time device. Whatever it was, it bore the same principles found in the Great Pyramid, in the ziggurats, in the floor plans of Minerva's temple. The Reich had pulled the old science into the new age, and they were not alone. In secret conferences, bankers and industrialists from both sides of the Atlantic met to discuss terms, not for peace, but for technology. When the war ended, the ruins of Berlin were searched, not just for gold or art, but for equations. Operation Paperclip brought scientists westward. Soviet teams hauled others east, and the work continued, in underground labs, in desert ranges, in places not marked on any map. The scalar research did not die. It simply changed uniforms. And soon, it began to appear in the architecture of power: particle accelerators, HARP arrays, satellite grids, buildings shaped to manipulate resonance, temples reborn in glass and steel. Because the Reich had proven something, that the ancients were not primitive. They were engineers, and their devices were not myths. They were blueprints. In the shadows, a quiet war began, not for land or oil, but for the medium itself, for the ether, for the field in which reality unfolds. And those who control it, control everything.